Konnichiwa, Minako wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And it's been a while, but I've been gone for a week. I'm back from Japan. That's right. I actually have vlogged the whole trip. But, yeah, it's going to take me a while to get it all put together and figured out and stuff like that. So I will put it up when I have a chance to, probably this week, little by little. I broke it up into days, like day 1, day 2, day 3, all that stuff. The Tokyo Disney Day, which was filmed on Monday, will probably be the longest, because I collected some shows, well, one show, like the whole thing, actually. I still have to figure out if I'm going to put it in there, and a bunch of other stuff, and it was mildly disappointing just because of the fact that the wait times were ridiculous. But we'll get into that another time. So today's video, of course, is long awaited. I wanted to do this while I was in Japan. I never got around to doing it, so I'm doing it now. But I did get to watch, on the same day that we went to Tokyo Disney Sea, which was Monday, April 9th. No, Monday, April 4th, sorry. I did get to watch Sailor Moon Crystal Act 27, Part 1, on Japanese television live as it premiered for the first time on TVMX. And it's interesting watching them because they have, basically, they're almost all Sailor Moon commercials while it happens. And it's like a 1 or 2 and then boom, it's back on TV, which is really neat. So, let's kind of delve into a few things because I don't want this to be too long. As we go along. So, of course, it is the Death Buster'S Arc. You've seen me wear this shirt before, but I thought it was pretty apt considering it's the Death Buster'S Arc. So, we're now into Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Book 6, which has Chibiusa on it, and it is, of course, the Act 27 Premonition first part. Now, this was interesting. They're not doing it like they did with Sailor Moon Crystal's first 2 seasons, where each chapter was basically represented by an episode, but I mean this first chapter is pretty large, so we know there's going to be 13 episodes, so chances are they are not animating the specials, but they're just going to do a part 1, part 2 here and there, or they may skip over the what was originally the S movie since it's already out there, and they might make it into another movie. Who knows what the heck they're going to do? I don't know. And they might just have the other ones in there. We don't know at this point. Right now, what we do know is what we've seen already. And honestly, they're following it pretty close to the manga in this instance. I did take a few notes. Like, obviously, we get to see Uranus, Neptune, Pluto's talisman shown pretty much right away in Hotaru's dream, which they don't show in the manga here. So, whereas in the original series, of course, we don't know that they have them. Well, I mean, we do, kind of, but we don't know that they have them until later on. The theme song, compared to Moon Pride, Moonlight Densetsu, and the Sailor Star song, is pretty lackluster. I'd equate it to something like Chobits or Cardcaptor Sakura. Really lacklustery in that sense. I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of hate from people that like those series, but some of the songs are pretty... I mean, it almost reminds me of the one Cardcaptor song. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. I don't remember what it's called. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. There's a whole video where a guy was imitating it, dressed up as Sakura, the whole works. It was nuts. But I kind of equate it to that. Sung by Etsuko Yakushimaru. I can't even talk because I'm still jet-lagged. I'm really sorry, guys. But it's just not that great. I don't think. Anyway, so we'll move on from there. I mean, it does have the key sequences and stuff that we're going to see coming up, and the animation is good. It's way more fluid, and that can be said for the whole episode, so I'll put that out there. The song is just not that fantastic. So, you know, be careful what you wish for. People didn't want Momento Clover's back, but, I mean, this song is going to be sung by them as well, and another, Sailor Galaxia's voice actress, Horie Yue, I think it is? No? Maybe I'm wrong. Sailor Galaxia's voice actress from the original series. But anyway. So, again, the animation is much better. When they're talking about the newscast, the initial thing Kenji Papa talks about is reversion as opposed to atavism, which is what they use in the English translation of the book. Basically mean the same thing, reverting back to some primal state. And what I really like about this is it seems the funny moments are returning. Like, they have little comedic moments, and yes, they're kind of dictated in the manga, but they seem more prevalent and more noticeable than in the original first run of the first and second season. What I do find a little bit strange, and like Usagi, bleh, I can't talk. Like I said, I'm jet lagged. Usagi does mention it when she's talking about Chibiusa, like in the manga. This is Chibiusa. She's my daughter from the future. She came back to be a Sailor Senshi. Blah blah blah. But then she continues on and does it when she sees Ami, Rei, Makoto, and Minako, which does differ from the manga because she doesn't do that in there. So that was a little bit strange. I mean, I know it makes sense because it's been a while since Crystal's second season aired, so I guess maybe they did that on purpose, but it just seems a little bit misplaced to me. I mean, it does work, so it's good. Probably just to also fill a little bit more of the episode in as they needed to. Now, Makoto is playing the racing game. Unlike in the manga, it's just Usagi that is. But Makoto's actually beside her playing it, and then the crash happens, blah, blah, blah. Then they do the whole scene where Michiru meets Mamoru-chan, I'm getting tongue-tied, Mamoru-san, and Haruka talks with Usagi, and then Haruka actually pulls Usagi's buns, or her hair at least, in the manga, but she doesn't do it in the anime, which is also kind of different. But yeah, so they do the meeting and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden it cuts to commercial. Now what upsets me about this is the first two seasons had a little bit of a jingle, at least, for the commercial break. This one, there's nothing when Haruka is shown, which is beautiful art, by the way, Sailor Uranus. And then when it comes back and Sailor Neptune's there, also beautiful art. There's kind of a little bell jingle, but that's about it, and that is kind of sad. I always loved the original series when they had the commercial music, like Sailor Moon Super, like that. That was, I mean, you know, it's the commercial break, and I mean, you kind of do with this too, but it just, I don't know, it's sad that it's not the same. What can I say? I'm a purist for certain things. Minako has more personality and seems to be more fun-loving than in previous seasons. She was so serious in the first one, which does make sense. She is the leader, and now she's finally loosening up a little bit. But so is Rei, which is good to see as well. I mean, Rei was kind of a tight ass for the first bit of the series, and now she still kind of is. But the rivalry between her and Usagi is kind of being played with a little bit, like it was in the original series, which is good to see as well. Alright, so they talk about Mugen Academy, and the girls walk by from the academy while the others are admiring their suits, and then of course the one girl transforms into a demon, but is different this time. In the manga, she's already got the seed in her, it seems, because the creature grows from her back out into that big centipede-like thing, whereas in the anime series, they seem to have it where this pod comes flying out from the air and implants itself into the girl's back, which is a little bit odd, but it does the job. I mean, it uses the host body to hatch itself and becomes this big demon. And then the transformations start at approximately 16 minutes and 30 seconds into the episode. So they're much closer to the original series ones, which is really good to see. The animation is way more fluid, and you only have a couple of instances where they have the abnormally long arm and leg extensions, but it's far more forgivable this time than it was in the original series. So thank you to the new animation team for that. Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter's transformation sequences are almost carbon copied from the original Sailor Moon S series, which is really good. Like, there's a lot of updated animation bits, a lot of updated effects, which is phenomenal. Sailor Moon and Venus's are different noticeably. Venus is not as much as Sailor Moon's, but it still gets the point across and is really good. But the transformation sequence takes until about 19 minutes and 18 seconds. So think about that, 16 minutes and 30 seconds to 19 minutes and 18 seconds between all five of them. Pretty long. And then the transformations end, and they get into each of the senshi doing their calls. All that stuff. Moon's is pretty quick. the others are, they do that weird thing where they're like, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Like that, you know, it takes like a moment. I don't know. Who actually does that? Anyway. And that ends at about 20 minutes and 18 seconds. Now, what's really neat, and I don't know if you guys all caught this, because some people may not notice this, Mercury, and I went in the manga and I looked, and it is true. It's the same here. Each of the Sailor Senshi has the white things here, okay, on the shoulders. Mercury doesn't. If you go back and you watch it, I guarantee you'll see that. And in fact, there's the art for it. She does not have them. Whereas each of the other ones, Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus, each have that on their uniforms. So kind of a little interesting piece there to point out to you guys. By the way, I got this book from Book Off in Japan, and it also comes with the first and second episodes of Sailor Moon Crystal on DVD, which is really neat. I mean, this was really cheap as well. I don't even remember how much it cost. 1,010 yen, so that's about $10. That's not bad for a nice concept art book like this. So excited about that. So I'll do a little bit more about that later. So they're doing their thing, and then, now, different from the manga, Mercury uses her visor, and she notices that the girl is inside of the demon still. And also different from the manga, Mars ends up using Akurio Taisen, her little paper things, and throws it at the demon to try to stop it. Doesn't work. So Venus and Jupiter, like in the manga, jump up, and it's the first time we get our Venus Wing Chain Sword and Jupiter Coconut Cyclone animated. And they look really, really neat. Jupiter's is very different from what I would have expected, but that's okay. Venus's makes more sense. And so they destroy the demon together, and it just disappears, and then the pod comes out of the girl's body and disappears. Kind of like the original anime, except that in the original one they had that bird thing that disappeared and stuff. So they're using the diamond pods. After that, basically they go to the arcade and they talk about the new threat. Before that, though, Venus turns around and she thinks that she's she feels somebody watching them. In the manga, you kind of catch a glimpse of what could be Haruka and Michiru watching, but in the anime they don't even show them at all at this point. So kind of seems like an awkward sequence with that to me, but I don't know. Anyway, it works. So then they're back and they're talking about this, and they're like, okay, we got to go to Mugen Academy to investigate it. And then in the manga, it should cut to a scene where they go to Usagi's house with Chibiusa talking about Momo-chan and all that stuff. However, that's where the episode ends, so that's part 1 right there. And they made it work very well. The pacing was quite good in this episode. It wasn't too slow, wasn't too fast. I think it worked out very well. Okay, so like I said, I got this book there. I'll be doing a Japan trip haul video eventually. Now it's basically an art book of sorts. It talks about, like, this is the Queen Beryl series, and I don't think it's just the first season, the Queen Beryl series, which is really, really neat to see. But I also, and I couldn't believe my luck on this one, and you probably could see what's sitting on the table here. You guys know that I love the Sailor Moon musicals. I walked into Book Off, which was just down the street from our Airbnb where we were staying, and I'm so giddy about this, the entire Oyama Anza musical box sets, both of them, one was 17,000 yen, one was 18,000 yen roughly, so about $200 each, which is unheard of. And I am so happy to have these because my Super S musical video VHS disappeared in my move. And Anza is my favorite of the moons, and I'm just beyond insanely excited with this, that I have them on DVD now as well. And it's lovely art boxes they come with them, and they actually survived the trip back, so I'm so happy about that. And just beyond excited about that. So I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, back from Japan, and it was a long trip. I mean, basically, on the way back, we left at 5 p.m. Japan time is when we took off, and flew to San Francisco, and we had a layover there, and then we landed in Vancouver at about 3 p.m., a little bit earlier, Then we had to take the SkyTrain to Coquitlam, where I picked up my car and then drove back immediately. I got home at about 9 or 10 p.m. Pacific time last night. I could barely sleep, so today I was very jet lagged. Thank goodness I didn't work. Everything's all insane. So tomorrow, or I guess technically today, because I'm doing this video on Saturday, or sorry, Sunday morning, like early morning. It's like 2:15 in the morning because I'm wide awake again. My radio show is today, so don't forget to check that out, 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time if you're watching this video before then. But if not, then it's every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time. You can go to the x.ca to check it out if you like, to tune in live, or tune in from Kamloops at 92.5 FM. Let me know what you think about my review and what you think about the episode yourself. Do you agree? Of course, the ending theme is done by Uranus and Neptune's voice actresses, Minako Junko and Ohara Sayaka, much better than the opening theme. And it is called Eternal Eternity. And it's beautiful. And I will be doing another video that highlights my, well, during my vlogging thing, that talks about my visit to the Sailor Moon Cafe in Shibuya. That was exciting. So, yeah, we'll go from there. Anyway, this video is long enough already. Jamata ne mina. Keep your eyes open because, like I said, my Japan trip videos will start appearing on YouTube very soon on this channel. And I hope you guys enjoy them as much as I enjoyed putting them together. Now, please excuse my editing, of course, because I'm not good at editing, so I kind of just throw everything together. But you'll get the gist of what's going on, including a wonderful surprise that happened that I knew about going into it, but whom it happened to didn't. And yeah, so, okay, jamata ne mina. Bye-bye.